Good evening and welcome to Signature Evening. We are glad to have you. Today is Friday, the end of the week. I mean, for us, we are excited to be here.
God, it's
Thank
Friday.
goodness it's Friday. Of course, it's that day of the week where you are being launched into the weekend, where you can relax, unwind, and also prepare for Monday, which is Christopher's favorite day of the week.
Oh,
I am Quincy Roland. Thank you for joining us tonight.
and I'm Christopher Lily. Of course, Monday is my favorite day of the week, but then this is hers, and I give it to her. Have all the fun and excitement.
Of course, I will. Today, in the highlights, we're going to have an interview, or rather, interviews with guests, that are going to put us through certain subject matters that just need to be talked about and reviewed. And afterwards, we have regulars on the show, news and events and political circle. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles. We are always live on YouTube 247 and on SLTV Channel 265. After the break, we have a conversations for tonight.
The Chris Ngige interview part 2.
And whenever I see my junior brother P2B, I will tell him, I will caution him not to be saying that he met nonsense in Anambra. No, I put the place on good. In fact, what he was doing in Anambra was a cruise control situation. Unlike some of the things happening in the APC, but I'm there.
You are there.
I'm a foundation member.
You fight to correct certain things.
Yes. When we come back, if those things are still there, things I don't like, we'll fight and correct them.
Coming a new day at 10 a.m. this Saturday. Join us.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on e-vibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
I should try harder. So,
Okay, I don't know that one.
outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that.
No.
That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hub's on e-vibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Welcome back to Signature Evening. Of course, we go to our quote for the day. Religion is a set of social, political institutions and spirituality as a private pursuit, which or may not take place in a church setting. This is coming from Patrick Miller. The intersection of religion and politics in Nigeria is a subject of profound significance, deeply rooted in the country's history. Political governance is a complex and fragmental pattern of rule that encompasses various norms, institutions, and networks, influencing social and political orders beyond the state. The relationship between religious institutions and government can be contentious, with debates surrounding the separation of church and state. Religion can shape cultural identity and inform values, which can in turn influence political governance. Religion and politics can also lead to challenges, controversies such as religious extremism or discrimination. Nigeria is multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and politically divided and tribalistic. Since religion and politics seem to be one of the major ways that divide Nigerians and create animosity among compatriots, how then can Nigerians handle these menace to sustain a peaceful and united Nigeria where no one would be suppressed, or shall I say oppressed? On that note, we shall be discussing religious institutions and political governance, and who else can do justice to this? Of course, this is where I leave it to Kingsley to come in.
Of course, our guest is in the studio, Reverend Chimobi Aniwene, who is a cleric and public opinion analyst. And the conversation tonight is the religious institutions and political governance. Good evening, Reverend, and welcome.
Good evening, my sister, and good evening, my brother. Nice to have you.
Thank you for
our
joining
viewers
us.
all over the world. God bless. I was learning to laugh like two of you. I've been laughing. I pray that God will give me the grace to laugh.
Amen.
Of course,
It doesn't take
amen.
anything.
You're a happy couple.
Okay, so we are talking about religion religious institution as well as political governance. Is this supposed to be found in the same sentence to start with?
Well, one thing you have to understand is that it is hard to separate politics from religion. Both are interwoven.
Okay.
They are interrelated, even though that most of the times when religion gets closer to politics, politics tend to be swallowing religion, because most people use religion as a tool to get into politics.
Interesting.
All right, but then again, how can one really go into full-time politics without contaminating his faith? Because I'm saying this due to some strict adherence to politics, the patterns. Even if some things are not true, you have to say things to maintain peace and order in your party and people believing in you. And then being a Christian, or let's say a religious person, practicing loyalty and faithfulness to what you believe in.
Well, one of the things you have to understand is that every field has its own policy, its own norms and values. Take for instance, I am a pastor, and as a pastor, I can't do politics with pastor's mentality. It will not work. Because as a pastor, I will be emotional. As a pastor, I will try to attend to every critics in order to clear myself. Okay. But as a called politician, there are certain things you have to ignore as a leader. There are certain actions you must take in order to move the city forward. You know, when you want to build a city or a state as a state governor, there are too many things you must do, and some must not support you because you will hit some. Take for instance, you want to dualize the road, and initially it is in the map, but people came and built and blocked everywhere, and then you want to bring that original map to bear. Of course, you must understand that there are people you must ignore, you must have to do it. But as a religious man, you may not have that courage to do it.
Okay.
Because
go ahead.
Your passion as a man of God, you have feelings for people. You are looking at, oh, how will people say? Oh, what will people say? Oh, how would they feel? And all those things. And if you have such feelings, you are not good to lead. Like I used to tell people, I can't be a governor. It's not possible.
But we see pastors who are politicians. Like our former vice president is a pastor.
If you look at it, when the former president assumed office, he made a statement that he doesn't want people to see him as a pastor. He wants them to see him as a vice president. Okay. He dropped the calling. He dropped the robe.
Are you supposed to drop the calling?
And wear the mask of a politician. If he had entered into politics with pastor's mentality, he wouldn't lead well.
You just said drop the calling.
Of course.
When God calls you, are you supposed to drop because of politics?
You know, you must understand that this calling we talk about, we have different categories. There are some who are called. There are some who see it as a vocation. There are others, their family members call them. Some other people, their community call them. Are you getting it? And we have different understanding. And of course, you must understand that even biblically, as a Christian, we have leaders who are into politics. Somebody like Daniel. Daniel was not a pastor, even though he had the prophetic grace. And in this generation, we may tag him as a pastor, but he had a calling into that political phase. And then he lived that life. You wouldn't expect somebody like Elijah to be a Senate president. Okay. The president will resign, or he himself will resign. Two of them cannot work together. So we look at the volume and their area of calling. So I believe that the last vice president had that connection. And of course, according to their church system, he was not into full-time ministry. He's just a part-time minister. Because I believe that a true servant of God who is called into full time cannot do well
As a politician.
as a politician. He can't.
Okay.
Because
So,
politics is full of lies, pretense.
but we
promise
have
and
we
fail.
have the true politicians. We have the good ones.
So
Is it hard to find?
Is it in Nigeria or in the world to come?
yeah, even in Nigeria, we want to believe that there are still good politicians.
Allegedly.
But allegedly, because the impression you're giving us is that going into politics, you have to play dirty to meet up with the game.
According to the system of this nation, our nation in particular, you cannot be too pure and function effectively in Nigeria. There'll be trouble. You will march on too many toes. Take, for instance, as I am now. And then the governor of the state calls me and says, Reverend Chimobi, I know, come and be my commissioner for so thing. My brother, it can't work.
It can work as in you won't take the offer because it will be a dent to your belief.
Why?
Or-
Because it depends on, well, let me put it this way. It depends on the leader anyway, because there are leaders who might be sincere. If I get somebody who is sincere, I can work, because I would like to be very, very sincere, even to the point of telling my head the truth. Okay, this lie you asked me to go and say, it can't work. It's a lie, and I can't tell people lies.
But there are ways we can look at this. It's like a damage control, or shall I say, a perspective to come in. It's like you being a father. You know, there are times that your kids will ask you for money for school fees or for feeding, and you tell them, I will pay. But deep down, you know very well that you cannot meet up the deadline because you don't even have the means and, you know, circumstances surrounding the finance to meeting up that demand. There are times you make promises to your kids just to calm them, to make them feel all right. But deep down, you know, you may not meet up this promise. Somehow, governance could also be viewed from that angle. You know, these people make statements just to make peace reign and make people feel all right. And maybe they may even be looking for a way to meet up with their statements, even if they know it's hard to actually meet up. But it's not like they are intentionally doing some of these things.
No wise father will make a promise to the child, knowing fully well he will not do it, just to calm him down as a Christian. If you have a conscience, your conscience will break you. Yes, we have faith-based understanding. This thing is not here, but I believe it will be here. And then you have that understanding and you're working towards producing it. There are unforeseen matters that can come up to withdraw you from, fulfilling your promises. That is why man is not God. But we're talking about people who knew and then they came up on board intentionally to tell a lie. You know you can't do this, and then you're coming to tell a lie. It is different from having a mind to do this, but you have a miscalculation.
Exactly.
Are you getting? You miscalculated the journey. We are human. We can make mistakes. But you know there are some who will come up to say, we are going to give you house in the air, when you know you don't have plans on the ground to do. And most of the times, our people contribute to that. A politician is making a promise, you know it is not possible, and you are voting him in on the basis of his promises, when you yourself know that this thing is not real, it can't work. So I don't really agree with the illustration of, as a father, calming my child, I will give you this when I know fully well I don't want to give it to him, and I calm him down. If I am a true Christian, I shouldn't do such a thing to my
Okay,
child.
so let's look at
But I understand that at times we can have miscalculations
as humans.
Yes.
All right then. So let's look at the issue of endorsements by religious leaders. You see, pastors, reverends endorse political candidates when the election is around the corner, and you see, because of the multitude that follows these religious leaders, you have them undermining the true essence of democracy, whereby you have a whole congregation voting for this political leader because your papa said you should vote for him as the right person. We've seen that happen before. What do you think about it?
Well, number one, as a pastor, you must understand that you are an individual. You are a personality also. Using Nigeria, for example, we all are Nigerians. And as a person, you can have your preferred candidate. But in my own understanding, you don't have to force the whole congregation to believe in the person you believe in. But if you're a true leader, and the people you are leading have seen over the years that your integrity is intact, you're not a person of double face, you have your integrity, and then you don't just endorse somebody because the person gave you money or something of that nature. They will believe you, they will follow you. But in my own way, I think as a pastor, as a clergy, as a reverend, you don't have to compel your members to follow the person you endorse, because everybody has
It's not really
In most cases,
compelling.
yeah.
It's just the influence that the religious leader have on the congregation.
It depends on how the religious leader train his people.
Okay.
We must have to, you see, I understand what you're saying. There are many of us clergies who are training people to respond to us
To worship.
instead of responding to God, which
Exactly.
is an error. So you must raise people to the point where they become responsible, where they can think, where they can, have their own mind. Man of God, see, you are following this person, but we are not seeing reasons with you. So you don't have to threaten the person or suspend the person or deprive the person of his or her right. You must allow people to air their own view. You must not rub it on them.
So,
Are you getting it? Yeah. So, like somebody like me, I know if I want to choose somebody, I will tell you, hey, this is my preferred candidate. But whichever way, you have right to choose anyone you want to choose. It doesn't affect our worship with God. It's like a man who wants to build a lasting home. As a man, and then you are living with a woman, whether you are an angel, there must be misunderstanding. But you have to bring your home to the point where you say to your wife, no matter our misunderstanding, let this not rob us of the opportunity of eating together. We can be dragging something and still be eating together. You can have your own understanding. I may like okra soup and my wife love egusi soup. I will not say to my wife, because I love okra soup, you must eat okra with me. I have to give her the opportunity. See, this is what I like. See, this is what you like. Because in my own understanding, marriage is not a crusade of change. It is a crusade of complement. You have to blend and complement each other. So as a pastor, as a leader, you must come to the understanding where you know that one of your primary assignment is to lead people to Christ, not to lead them into politics. Are you getting it? You make your own choice, they make their own choice. Because as like people will come up and say, he's a pastor. Why is he coming into politics? I should talk about politics.
As a
In
human
as much
being.
as I as a pastor, there is something my brother said I want to just bring into this our conversation. As a pastor, if religion must influence politics, there must be a gap. Once the two comes together, politics must swallow religion most of the times. Because when the two comes together, interest will play. Of course. This is my brother. This is my sister. I think I have access to this one. I don't have access to the other one. And because I have access to this one, I have to believe in this one. So you will not, because you love this person, then you come to the altar and start lying to the congregation that the Lord say what the Lord is not saying.
all right, let's look at, still talking about religious leaders. Let's look at it from the angle of corruption. How can these influential religious leaders, bring back the ethics of politics? Based on their influence, you talk to the leaders doing it wrong from their power, their point of view as Christians, the right thing that should be done. You being a voice in the desert, how can this be done since they are also influential from their own end?
Well, my brother, let me approach it like this. If there must be sanity in our political circle from religious angle, the religious leader himself must be pure. You cannot give what you don't have. If the leader is corrupt, he cannot confront the other one. You must be righteous. Number two, we must come to the point where we disciple our people before letting them in to politics. Number two. Number three, we must come to a point where we deal with greed. Greed. Because if you're a greedy man of God, gift blind, there is a level of gift somebody will give to you, start singing the person's praise, which is an error. We must come to a point where we say to them, see, we are not interested in your money. We're interested in you bringing good governance to the people. Rebuke, confront the people. Then in the other way around, our congregation should also come to the point of supporting us, because most of the times when we get some people in that level who will want to confront leaders, you will see people from the same congregation condemning the pastor. Why are you talking to this person? Why are you, can't you mind your priestly work? Can't you face your this thing? Can't you, sorry to call this person's name. Reverend Father Mbaka have been in the war front, confronting bad governance and every other thing. And then you will still see people say, shut up, don't talk. Why will you talk? Why will you talk about this? Why will you talk to this person? But if we read Bible, we, the Christians, we will discover that one of the major roles of the prophet of the old is to confront leadership. Because if there is no one confronting them, they will not lead well. But they have, some of them have come to the point where they have pocketed the pastor. So a pastor need money or need contract or need one or two favor. He's, meddling with the leaders, compromising just to get one thing or the other, this and that and that and that. But if that evil must be stopped, a pastor must have a clear vision, fearless, ready to die, defending the people and living righteously for God. And of course, it is not an easy task.
It is not.
It is not, especially in Nigeria.
That brings me to my question. Do you think pastors, religious leaders can remain neutral in a deeply divided political environment?
It is possible. It's a matter of decision.
To remain neutral?
Neutral. It depends on the neutrality you're talking about. Is it neutral in the sense that you will not talk? Or you will not support anybody, any group? Of course, take for instance, I'm a minister. In my church, I have members of different parties. I have PDP, APC. Currently, we have AD, we have Labour Party, and all those things. Are you getting it? What I normally do is I come up and tell you, see, you have rights to support anyone you want to support. But I, as a Nigerian, I will pray for whosoever desire my prayer. But if I must vote, I must have to vote an individual. I don't have to vote for all of them. And as a clergy and as a Nigerian, it's my civic right. I should vote. I shouldn't on the voting day stay aloof, because anyone that does not participate in election have no right to criticize the leaders. Because you don't have the right to criticize leaders you never elected or supported. So if you must criticize the leadership, you must be part of that politics. I think it is... my answer is yes and no. It based on our individual choice.
So it differs.
It differs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So being part of the politics of the day and what have you, some Christians believe that as Christians, you give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and to God what belongs to God. The whole political party and what have you is like a worldly thing to some Christians. You're not supposed to be involved in it because your governance, your politics is not of the world.
Of course, it's in heaven.
Spiritual basis, you kabash in the spirit and you don't do all of that physically.
That's an error.
You made a statement also. You said there's no way you can go into politics as a Christian and
as
you
a
will not
clergy.
default.
As a clergy.
I'd rather not even go into the clergy thing, because I want to believe that being a Christian, with or without being a clergy, the aim is to make heaven, to live a faithful and loyal life, regardless the position in church or in Christ that you have, right? So regardless, you're supposed to stand firm in God, regardless being a politician or not. Now you're saying being a politician will touch many of the things you are supposed not to have done. You likely be doing it because you have to work according to the party's desire and what the people expect you to behave like in the party. Now the question is, should Christians just forsake politics and leave it for the world to run and be from the angle of criticizing, calling to order and doing it right without being biased?
Well, see, when I was talking at the beginning, I was more specific about the clergies.
Okay.
I didn't say that Christians should not participate. If Christians will not participate, how then do we desire change? Do we have the change? We can't have the change until you get there. Christians should be encouraged to come to politics. I also believe as a Christian there is a way you can lead and yet not corrupt. What I'm saying is that it is difficult, not impossible. Going by the system of this nation, Nigeria. You know, Nigeria is not just corrupt. Nigeria is corruption on its own. Are you getting what I'm saying? So what I'm saying that it is possible that somebody can decide as a Christian, see, this is my faith. This is my stand with Christ. No matter what I do, I must not deviate. I have to follow the right path. But if you follow the right path, you get ready for the battles. So Christians standing aloof and then their job is to criticize who goes in there, then they are cowards, if that is their mind. I believe that if we say that those leading us are not leading us well, we should come out in mass and then support our own to go there and then lead by example. But there is this problem I'm having. You know, in Nigeria, we have three most powerful religious groups. We have the Christians, we have the Muslims, and then we have the African traditional religionists. People have their own traditionalists, yes. They have their own religion and all those things. But I discovered something about the Muslims. When a Muslim man enters into politics, he enters with the ideology of his religion. Where we are having the major issue is we, the Christians. A Christian will enter there, he will forget about his faith. That is why if you look critically in the constitution of this nation, you will see that our faith as Christian is not properly enshrined in our constitution. But you could see more of this Islam and all those things. The reason is because most of them enter into politics with that ideology. Let us cause revolution. Let us bring our own thing into this place. But our people will get in there and then they begin to compete. They want to be celebrities and all those things, which is an error on their part and on the part of we, the ministers, because it's a sign also that we, the ministers, have not discipled them. As a pastor, I don't have to bow to my member because you're a governor. A father is a father. No matter the position of your child, give your child the honor due to him, but at a point, you have to let the child to understand, see, I am still your father. This thing you are doing. If we Christians, religious leaders who come up one day and say, hey, this our son is in politics and is not doing it well. And because you're not doing it well, sir, don't give offering in this church again until you change. Don't give offering. How many of us can dare it? When behind the corner they will bring bags of 50 million, 30 million, 100 million, 200 million, and then they give to the pastor. And then you imagine some pastors will see some of the politicians walk into the church and then we change our topic. They start preaching in their favor. Why you should be hammering them. But a bishop in Calabar did something. A governor walked into the service and gave him money. He said, no, I understand if you are owing the teachers, you are owing your workers. Use the money, pay them. I don't need your money. I am not a hungry preacher. I respected that man. But how many of us preachers can take that bold stand? If we can come to that point where we deal with our greed. And another problem, you know, gathering everything. Another problem I notice is that we pastors also want to be seen as celebrities, which is an error. As a pastor, you don't need to vie or campaign to become a celebrity. That's not your job. Your job is a sacrificial life.
Okay. So let's look at the moving forward. How can religious institutions help fight corruption as well, you know, put the society in a way that we forfeit and promote ethical leadership?
Of course, the answer is very, very simple. We have to preach against corruption. We have to live above corruption. Something happened some times ago. I think in Kaduna, I heard the story. I don't know how true the story was.
Okay.
The then governor of Kaduna, Erofai, somebody was criticizing him. The man was on his neck, castigating him, speaking ill of him. Then he invited the man to the government house and said, come to government house, use keke. And then he showed the man the route he will follow. The man eventually entered government house. And then he gave the man 500,000 to give to the keke man. The man went down, gave the keke man 5,000 naira instead of 500,000. And the keke man was dancing out and rejoicing because he billed the man 1,500. You bill somebody 1,500, the person gave you 5,000 naira. And then when the man came back, the governor said, how much did you give to the keke man? He said, I gave the keke man 500,000. He said, no, we have carried out investigation and discovered you gave the man 5,000 instead of 500,000. Can't you see that we are the same? You are corrupt and corrupt. You have no moral right to criticize me. So as preachers, as leaders, if we must rebuke them and bring sanity to the governance, we have to live according to what we are preaching. Take actions, both in private and in public.
Okay, let's look at church, just like schools, where we have, you teach maths, you teach English. Some of these students turn out to be mathematicians, they go to medicine, while some turn out to be communication, specialists like us. In churches, do they really teach politics? The right way to go into politics? We understand that church has to be all religious and teach people the way to get to heaven, right? But while we're on earth, we also need to know how to live on earth, right? And for those that are vying for political offices, public offices, do we have a platform in a church setting where you can teach people the right ways from different doctrines and leadership roles in the Bible to imbibe in people that want to go into politics? Maybe have a class, just as they have baptismal classes,
Exactly.
communal classes, marriage
Prepare
classes.
them ahead of what
Prepare,
is there.
the leaders of tomorrow. Do we have something like that?
Well, one thing you have to understand is the world politics. Because even in church, we have politics inside the church. There is no way, as long as life is concerned, there is no institution that doesn't have politics inside of it. We, as a people, might not have the class, but during our teaching, we make references. Because as believers in Christ Jesus, we must understand that our teaching must center on Christ. We don't make Christ as just a reference, bringing him at the middle of the message. He should be the center. But there is no way you can talk about Christ without talking about politics. So in as much as we may not have it as a class, but in our course of teaching, we bring politics. Abraham is a leader. Moses, a leader. David, a leader. Solomon, a leader. And we make references of them, and then we show them governance. And then Jesus Christ, the Bible told us, he is the King of kings. He is the leader. So in all our teaching, politics is connected to it. Because when you talk about politics, you talk about giving people moral understanding, and that we do every day in our services. So in as much as we may not call it a political class, are you getting it? But we have elite group where you meet some people at leadership level and then talk leadership to them. So when you talk about leadership, you also talk about politics. Because politics is also leadership.
Okay, so how can the church also help in promoting peace and unity and stability in our governance?
Call a spade, preach peace, preach unity, then take a step, unite people. When you see crisis, we have to get in there, call the parties involved, tell them the truth, and then don't side anybody. Call a spade, confront anyone that is fueling that evil. Are you getting it? And if you must do such, you need courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is ability to swallow fear when fear comes up. Because when you want to talk to authority, sometimes there is this fear. You will be arrested. You will be this, they will behead you. And with this insecurity that is everywhere in Nigeria, you don't know who will kidnap you or something of that nature. But if you are a man of God indeed, you must have courage to call a spade a spade. Like what is happening in Nigeria, this insecurity, this killing and all this is man-made. This is man-made. If our leaders want to stop this evil, they can.
I want to ask as well, we see situations in Nigeria, the insecurity, different crises. We just have religious leaders just give out statements, no particular action, you know, maybe. And I'm sure that we have religious leaders that have close contacts with these politicians, the bigwigs. We just see them release statements or have maybe a conversation on how sad they feel about these particular incidents, why don't we see actions from them? Why don't we see, obvious things done by them to resolve the crisis?
Obvious things like what? Like carrying gun.
Not
Or
carrying gun
matches.
particularly.
Because the law of the land forbid us from touching gun as Christians, carrying laws into our hands. I believe that most of our leaders are interfacing with the leaders. My sister, if you get close to Nigerian leaders, when you go to school and they ask you to define corruption, you just call one of them. Once you call one of them, you have defined corruption.
All right. Thank you so much, Reverend Chimobi. Our time is fast spent already. Of course, it's always an amazing time when you join us on Signature Evening to talk about subject matters like this. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. Our guest is Reverend Chimobi Aniwene, who is a cleric and public opinion analyst. And our conversation is on the religious institutions and political governance. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll have our next guest for tonight. To stay with us.
The Chris Ngige interview part 2.
And whenever I see my junior brother Peter Obi, I will tell him, I will caution him not to be saying that he met nonsense in Anambra. No. I put the place on good. In fact, what he was doing in Anambra was a cruise control situation. Unlike some of the things happening in APC. But I'm there.
You are there.
I'm a foundation member.
You fight to correct certain things.
Yes. When we come back, if those things are still there, things are done like, we'll fight and correct them.
Coming a new day at 10 a.m. this Saturday. Join us.